House hearing stating that we recovered non-human remains from an alien craft.
Yeah, well, actually, if you read the Bible, this shouldn't surprise you.
All right, let's see it.
Because I think this is all part of a custom-tailored last days deception to explain away the very event that God says is next on his prophetic time calendar. And that event is called the rapture of the church.
So the concept of the rapture today is confined overwhelmingly to American evangelicalism, and primarily because it facilitates American evangelical structuring of power and values. But the majority of the Christian world abandoned it long ago because it is based on a misunderstanding of the imagery that is being appealed to in 1 Thessalonians 4:17. And it originates in the 1830s with John Nelson Darby, who used that passage in 1 Thessalonians as a foundation for triangulating a handful of different passages in the Hebrew Bible and in the New Testament to come up with this idea that Jesus' followers are going to rise up off the earth and be snatched away into heaven. And that snatched away idea, that comes from this verb in that passage, harpagisometho, which means we will be caught up or we will be snatched away. But there are nuances to this verb, and the overwhelming majority of scholars agree that the idea here is not that Jesus' followers will be snatched away into heaven, but that they will rise up off the earth to go meet Jesus in the clouds. And this is based on a convention from the time period during which this passage was written of a delegation from a city coming outside the city walls to meet a new ruler who is approaching, and then they lead the ruler into the city where they will enter their new rule, their new kingdom. So the idea is just changing the orientation of this convention from a horizontal one to a vertical one, where this delegation will rise up and meet Jesus in the air and then lead Jesus down to the earth to enter into, to take over his kingdom. So that's how the majority of Christians understand this. But American evangelicalism has found a lot more rhetorical value in this concept that was developed in the 1830s based on this misunderstanding of this ancient imagery.
And that is when God evacuates all born-again Christians, takes them off the planet before the worst time in the history of mankind is thrust upon the planet. The Bible calls that time the 7-year tribulation.
So the Bible nowhere refers to any such thing as a 7-year tribulation. This is based on another triangulation of a handful of passages and a specific interpretation of those passages. And more specifically, the final week of Daniel's prophecy of 70 weeks from Daniel 9, where each day of the week is interpreted as a year, and this merges with this dispensationalist concept of rapture and tribulation. This concept is not actually found in the Bible. It's based on cobbling together different pieces of the Bible and interpreting them in a specific way to serve a specific set of hermeneutical goals.
So if in fact that event is going to happen,
it's not.
You're going to see millions of people disappear.
You're not.
And you're an enemy of God, then what would you be doing? You better be coming up with the best excuse you can think of to explain away why all of a sudden these people disappeared, and specifically and only specifically Christians. Well, believe it or not, that's exactly what we have with the alien deception.
No, it's not.
They're called aliens. I agree with that guy. They're non-humans, but I don't agree with their assessment that they are a higher evolved race of beings from the other side of the solar system or galaxy or whatever here to help us. It's a deception. They call them aliens. The Bible calls them demons.
This is a totally arbitrary and absolutely laughable attempt to leverage a hoax on behalf of another hoax.
And they are right now being used to become the perfect excuse to explain away, hey, what happened to those people when all of a sudden they disappeared off the planet?
Stay in school, kids.